Hey everyone, Nicole here from Healthy Profit. I am a doctor of physical therapy, and today I am going to be showing you common exercises that you may be doing at the gym that is contributing to your knee or your back pain. The first exercise that we'll review is your traditional burpee. And there's a few parts to the burpee, right? You have the jump, the plank, and then the optional push-up. Let's go over some of the basics so that you can master your perfect plank. Starting from the fingers to the toes, fingertips are spread wide and placed firmly on the mat. Then we'll tuck our toes under and lengthen the legs. Your fingertips are spread wide, your elbows are unlocked, meaning your elbows are not pointing away, but your elbow creases are facing each other. Your chin is tucked and it's an extension of your spine, meaning you're not looking up and you're not looking down, but you're just gazing down towards the mat. Your core is tucked in tight, your glutes are squeezed firmly, and your feet are activated. I'm going to show you common compensations which I often notice in a mega plank, and I'll show you how to do the plank right versus how to do the plank wrong. The next piece to our oh so common burpee is the push-up, which is always optional in a burpee anyways. But before we talk about how to do your perfect push-up, I want to go through what is called a posterior pelvic tilt. So if you take a look at my back, there's always a natural curve, which is called a lordotic curve of the back. An overly arched back kind of looks something like this, and an underarched back looks like this. So what we want to do when we're in a plank of any sort is we want to do a posterior pelvic tilt, which is a backwards motion of the pelvis that will automatically engage your core and automatically engage your glutes. So begin by practicing that posterior pelvic tilt. Remember, the option is always to come down onto your knees for the most perfect push-up, and that will ensure that your form is not compromised if you are new to doing push-ups. So first I'll show you how to do them right, and then I'll show you how to do them wrong. So we'll assume that same plank position that we talked about before, chin tucked, fingers spread wide, posterior pelvic tilt. So automatically as you posteriorly pelvic tilt, you'll notice your glutes are engaged and your core is engaged, toes tucked under, and what you'll do is you'll let the elbows spew out, the chest comes to the floor, and then push like you're gonna push the floor away. Another option, of course, is to come down on the knees and do the same thing. Allow the elbows to come out to the sides and then push like you're pushing the floor away. So this action is called retraction and protraction of the shoulder blades. So you're squeezing your shoulder blades together and then pushing your shoulder blades apart. Give it a try. So there's a few takeaways from this burpee demonstration. One is that faster is not always better. You are not guaranteed to lose weight faster just because you're doing an exercise faster. My overall tip for completing the perfect burpee is to really get down the different parts first before you add plyometric movements. So make sure you master your plank and push-up prior to incorporating those into your burpee. The next exercise I'm going to teach you guys is the traditional squat. My biggest concern as a physical therapist is dynamic knee valgus. Adding weight is awesome when you're ready for it. If you add too much weight too soon, you put your knees at risk for some serious injury. That motion I just demonstrated is called dynamic knee valgus. Dynamic knee valgus occurs when the external rotators of your hips are weak and the knees begin to collapse inward. This puts a ton of extra pressure and unnecessary weight on the inner or medial part of the knee, and it's the result of a lot of the athletic injuries that I see in my clinic as a physical therapist. before, strengthening your external rotators is going to be the best way to prevent dynamic knee valgus. Some exercises that help strengthen your external rotators include clamshells, side steps, monster walks, and some of these exercises can be found on a blog I wrote about lower extremity exercises, which I will link below. Another really simple way to prevent dynamic knee valgus is to actually exercise in front of a mirror and watch your knees and make sure they are tracking straight. So you don't want them to track inward because that is dynamic knee valgus. Rather, you want the knees to track perfectly straight ahead. So I'll show you what that looks like. See where your kneecaps are. Once you see your kneecaps in the mirror, you want to just make sure that they are tracking like headlights perfectly straight, so I can see that my knees are going straight. Rather than if they go like this, now they're pointing inwards, right? I can see in the mirror in front of me that they're not tracking straight. Rather, this is tracking straight, this is tracking outwards. And my final tip for preventing dynamic knee valgus and medial knee pain with squats is to just be cautious of how much weight you're using. I certainly approve and want you to use weight while you're squatting. However, add the weight incrementally. Start with the lower weight, and then if it's too easy or if your knees are perfectly straight and tracking forward, add weight maybe 5 pounds at a time and see how you do with that. Next, I just want to go over some other exercises where dynamic knee valgus is often a common compensation noted. When doing that side lunge, it's really important to again use that mirror, both the front and the side mirror, to make sure that your knee is tracking forward. The bent leg is the leg doing all the work, so it's tracking straight forward. Use that glute, big power move, squeeze and pull up. There are a lot of factors that go into making your squat perfect, such as your ankle mobility, your hip mobility, your flexibility, and your overall strength. So to get an idea of some mobility exercises that you can do to improve your overall squat, take a look at my Mobility Matters video, which I will link in the description below. One tip that I'd like to share and mention at this point is that as your body gets tired, you'll notice just automatic compensations happening. Your muscles become fatigued, your body becomes fatigued, and then you're less inclined to automatically engage the core or automatically squeeze the glutes. So throughout your entire exercise routine, always be mindful of how you're feeling, scan your body, and never push past pain. The next exercise that I'd like to go through is the lunge. Instead of that forward lunge, which puts a lot of pressure on the anterior, the front of the knee, why don't you try a backwards lunge? Let's go through the proper form now. You want to come down so that your knees are both at a 90-degree angle. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it provided great educational content for you. In general, just remember to always be cognizant of your form, your pace, and the amount of weight that you're using. Perhaps work out with a friend who can take a look at your form with you, and exercise in front of mirrors so that you can be even more aware of what your knees are doing and if you are maintaining that posterior pelvic tilt. So to summarize some of our content today, I often find that the core and the glutes are often underdeveloped or weak in a lot of individuals, and that really going back to those basics and practicing your plank and practicing your basic squat is the foundation to some of the more difficult exercises that you'll notice at the gym. If you get those basics right and really get a nice firm base of support in your foundations, then you'll be a lot less prone to injuries going forward. If you liked this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, click that red button below, and share with your friends and family.